Listen, it's no surprise that the number one key for any young quarterback to be successful in college football, mainly in the SEC, is to have a stable offensive line. But the number two key is to have a legit number one receiver that will find a way to get on open for 6 points. And Dane Key might be the number one key to helping a young signal caller reach his full potential in 2025 and take his team to the college football playoff. And best of all, he is in the transfer portal. After 3 seasons with Kentucky, the Lexington native is testing the waters, looking for a brand new home. And while his numbers scream number 2 wide receiver, his mentality is all about being the alpha inside the locker room. So where does the former Wildcat best fit? Let's break it all down. Welcome on into SEC Unfiltered. It's Cole Thompson here. Like the video, hit the ring notification, and subscribe to the channel because we're breaking down college football every single day over here. Download the podcast version of the show wherever you get your podcast listening systems. Follow us on the socials. The links are in the description. Follow me at Mr. Cole Thompson, link in the description, and check out all of our great work found at secunfiltered.com. This episode is brought to you by our friends over at RHOBACK. Go to RHOBACK.com and use the promo code SECU for 20% off your first purchase. 20% off at RHOBACK.com when you use the promo code SECU. The holiday season is right around the corner. This, my friends, is the gift that keeps on giving. Dane Key is not going to pop off the radar the way that several other wide receivers will, because the numbers won't justify his overall production. 3 years with the Wildcats, finished with 1,870 yards, 14.8 yards per catch, 14 touchdowns, 126 receptions. Solid quality number 2 type numbers. But when you look at his overall metrics, and when you look at whenever Brock Vandagriff, Devin Leary, even Will Levis needed a big time playing, Dane Key was your number one answer. This is a dude that I think in the right system that allows him to go vertical, allows him to show off that smooth, silky route running skills, is going to benefit a young quarterback and really benefit an offense for putting up points through the air. And there's going to be teams that are interested in him, multiple teams. Now, who are the favorites? Let's go with just the one that I think is ultimately going to land him, but others that could maybe persuade him elsewhere. It's Ole Miss. In the Ole Miss game, if you guys remember, Kentucky beat the Rebels in their backyard, and that ultimately cost them a shot for the college football playoff. Dane Key was the number one weapon that day. He had a season-high 8 catches for 120-plus yards, found his way into the end zone, and was a big factor in securing a victory that really shook up college football early on in October. And so I think that when you look at what is needed right now, Austin Simmons is coming on in at quarterback. Maybe they bring in somebody to compete, but you don't really have much to work with. You need a new tight end who you just got in Luke Haas. You need to be able to bring in a secondary wide receiver to pair alongside with Caden Lee. Probably would help you if you get a third wide receiver, but this is a guy that can be that security blanket. Hey, I've worked with a smorgasbord of quarterbacks before, and look at my productions. I'm guaranteed to get you at least 42 catches in a season, put up over 600 receiving yards, average anywhere between 15 to 17 yards a route, and probably 4 or 5 touchdowns. I'm your guy. I want to be your guy. I want those numbers to triple while I'm down here in Oxford. And this is, again, a proven system that has time and time in the past shown you that when you are a transfer portal player, you come on in and you leave Oxford as a more prepared prospect for the NFL. Anybody that is looking at Ole Miss realizes that the players that leave are gaining something out of it. And I think that Dane Key would gain the fact of proving that he could be a legit force at the next level on Sundays if he was the number one wide receiver down in Oxford. I think LSU is going to be really interesting because LSU just landed his former teammate, Barryon Brown. Now, maybe they believe that Barryon Brown is a legit number one. The speed, the vertical pass catching skills, more importantly, the return skills is second to none. But what's better than getting a solo act? How about a duo, a dynamic duo? And you pair him alongside with your brand new tight end in Bauer Sharp, and you pair him alongside with Aaron Anderson, and then you have Chris Hinton, and you bring back Garrett Nussmeier, and it's not like you need to get a young quarterback adjusted or acclimated. Now you're just saying, hey, we're swinging big. We're going for the new heights in 2025. This is an offense that's going to cater to a lot of vertical passing attacks. This is a guy that can win at the second to third level of the defense. This is a guy that is known for his pristine route running, a good catch radius. He regularly drops balls. And now you get to pair him as a legit number 2, number 1, number 3. Pick your poison on a Saturday, and I promise you, you're walking away feeling pretty confident in yourself. They already got one Wildcat. Why not just go ahead and complete the package down in Baton Rouge? Florida is a team that I'm going to continue to mention. I don't know what Florida's game plan is right now, why they haven't brought in a wide receiver. There's been a ton that have currently entered the portal, but I look at what DJ Lagway is. You have a talent that is almost impossible to come by. You have a player that is only going to get better time after time after time. You're going to see him by the time that he leaves Florida. And the hope is you have a couple of college football playoff berths. You have a couple of SEC title appearances, maybe an SEC title, maybe a national championship. You can't be a one-man show down in the swamp, and you can't afford to be that if you're Billy Napier, because your seat is cool, but it is not off the hotness at all. It is basically on a simmer at this point. You got to start swinging. And can you imagine getting a quarterback like DJ Lagway, slicing and dicing up the field with his legs? More importantly, uncorking one to a number 6 down the field for 6 points. That's a dude that I'm looking at. Oh, and by the way, how about go back and look at that Florida game? 4 catches for 48 yards. That was the number 1 receiver on the afternoon. So when you talk about a dude like Dane Key working alongside with DJ Lagway, how does that not excite you? How does that not make you feel like I got him, I got Aiden Mizell, we got some young up-and-coming recruits, we got a foundation, and we've established the culture. Now we're going for it. I want to get my quarterback as many weapons as possible. And it just feels like me being the reason why DJ Lagway's out in New York City, being the reason why I'm out here winning Biletnikoff awards, or at least being considered as college football's number 1 wide receiver. I like my odds. Oklahoma, another one. No idea who the quarterback is. You have no idea who the quarterback is. I don't think Ben Arbuckle knows who the quarterback is at this point. But I do know that in a Ben Arbuckle offense, even though there is a predication on trusting the run game, they like to go vertical. They like to sling it deep. They like to be in that 15 to 18-yard range. John Mateer was awesome this past year. They have no wide receivers. Brennan Thompson, he's gone. Nick Anderson, he's gone. Andrew Anthony, he's gone. You lost Jalil Farouk, he's gone. You got Deion Burks and insert another dude here. It basically felt like you know what it felt like? It felt like Oklahoma this past year with literally Brennan Thompson being the only healthy wide receiver. You got to get a dude. I don't care who that dude is. You got to get somebody in the building. He is a dude that I think could absolutely flourish in this offense. The way they utilize the passing attack, the way they like to extend plays, the way they like to go deep, that is something worth discussing. So I'm telling you, if there is a way to get him on in, even though you don't know what the quarterback system is going to look like at this point, you got to at least feel pretty confident with it. How about Missouri? Missouri is in the same boat right now. I thought Miller Moss was going to go there. Well, now he is off to Louisville. And what's going to be really interesting is there have been rumors and speculation that Miller Moss is not a solo luggage. He is bringing a couple of carry-ons with him down from Southern California, which is really good for Louisville, really bad for Kentucky, and really bad for a lot of other SEC teams that are looking for wide receivers or tight end help. When I look at Missouri, they don't know what they're doing at quarterback just yet. Connor Wigman's off the board. You lost Miller Moss. Maybe Caden Salter comes on in, or maybe you just go with Sam Horn. Maybe you ride it out with Drew Pine. You're losing 2 of your best receivers. And I love Joshua Manning, and I love Brett Norfleet, and I love Marquise Johnson, and I think that you're going to bring in a quality running back to replace the production lost by Marcus Carroll and Nate Noel. But I just feel like you got to get that dude. Theo Wease comes on in and balls out. And he puts up very similar numbers to a guy like Dane Key. Last season, finished with 809 receiving yards and 3 touchdowns. More importantly, when he came on in 2 years ago, 682 yards, 6 touchdowns. So whether he's a number 1, whether he's a number 2, this is a very manageable schedule. This is a schedule that could absolutely get a team like Missouri into the college football playoff. And Dane Key could be the key to why this team ends up winning a playoff game. And the same thing goes for the final team that we're going to mention, South Carolina. South Carolina's just got added a player. I don't know what wide receiver they're going to bring in, but as much as I love Mazeo Bennett, as much as I love Nick Harbor, this is a Mike Shula offense that I think needs a veteran to take control. I think they need to bring in a tight end. Go look at what Shula's success rate was like when he was at Carolina with Cam Newton. It was a potent run game, and it was with having a good tight end in Greg Olsen. But they had some wide receivers. They had some pretty good wide receivers when they were there, whether it was Devin Funchess, whether it was Steve Smith at the very end, whatever it was, they had some guys. I think that you need at least one proven commodity. You don't want to rely so heavily on the progression of Nick Harbor, the progression of Mazeo Bennett, whoever is the next young up-and-comer, Sellers' little brother. And I got Lenore Sellers. I want to sell stock that this kid is going to be lighting up Willie B on a Saturday night en route to New York City for a Heisman Trophy. If I get him a legit force like a Dane Key to come on into this program, buy the stock that Shane Beamer is selling, you saw what happened in Lexington. Imagine if he was playing on that sideline instead of playing with the bluegrass state. Imagine what that would have been like. Oh, now they win by 40. Oh, now they win by 70. Oh, now they win by 122. Of course, I'm over exaggerating, but my point here is that you get another weapon to pair alongside with two young up and comers. This is the veteran. Sometimes the best move for any locker room is to bring in the soulful, more seasoned voice to serve as that guy while everyone else gets to play a role. I think it can work. I think it very beneficially can work in favor of Lenore Sellers. And it has to be a conversation worth having. But let me know in the comment section down below, where do you think Dane Key ultimately lands? Is it basically Ole Miss's race to the finish line? Could somebody else sweep on in and actually get the Key sweepstakes? Like, review, make sure you hit subscribe. Follow us on the social channels. Link in the description down below. Check out all of our great work found at SECUnfiltered.com and download the podcast. Link, it's in the description. I'm Cole Thompson. Until next time, folks, just remember, transfer portal, college football's free agency. Bye.